Hi, everybody. So I'm trying something different this month. I'm running out of time to edit and shoot my end of the month for March video, and I just didn't know when I'd get it in this week. And so I thought I would just kind of talk to you, and maybe if a few people are watching, I can have the Q&A open. You can ask some here. I'm just opening the Q&A. This is all just last minute, so I'm not expecting anybody to, but feel free to ask a question or even join in if you want. But I just thought I would kind of go over each of the films that I saw in March real quick, and it would just be sort of more informal, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the first movie that I saw in the month of March was Walt Disney Animated Studios' Zootopia. I ended up seeing this movie 3 times, and I did a full long dissection podcast kind of with AJ, my friend AJ, and we talked all about all the different aspects of it and some of the questions we had, things we liked, a few things we didn't like. Overall, we really enjoyed it, and I still stand by the fact that I think it's the best non-musical from Disney since 101 Dalmatians. And it does have some imperfections on a third viewing of the metaphor, but not in a way that really hurt my enjoyment of the film, because I really think that part of the film, as far as the race metaphor, is more to help teach message to children, whereas some of the humor and some other stuff is more for the adults. So I really thought it was inventive and beautiful and a really wonderful entry from Disney. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Zootopia. And I still laugh every time I think of the skunk rug. It still makes me laugh. I thought that was the funniest part of the whole movie. But it has such a nice heart too. I really like Judy Hopps as a character, and so yeah. Okay, then the next movie that I saw in March was Boy and the Beast, and this is Hosada is the animator's name, and this is the first time I'd seen one of his films. This is the only one I've seen to this point, and it was really weird because I went in to this theater in Salt Lake, and randomly, like, the theater was packed, and not just packed, but packed with people that were super into it. They were cheering. They were like really big anime fans, I guess, which was kind of fun. And I think maybe I enjoyed it a little more than others just because of that experience and kind of feeding off their energy. I mean, I think pretty much everybody liked it. I haven't heard anyone who hated it, but I feel like I liked it even more maybe because of that environment that I was in. The animation is beautiful, particularly at the end. There's this whale that kind of swallows up everything, and it's really pretty. And I thought it was a nice sort of story of this kid getting trained to be the master, martial arts. I thought some of the training sequences were really good. I thought the relationship between this curmudgeon guy who's training him, this beast, and the apprentice was really pretty fun. The interactions together I thought were well done, and where it lost me a little bit was some of the side plots where he meets this girl, goes to find his father. Some of that stuff wasn't as compelling, but and also the villain in the end kind of came out of nowhere and doesn't really work, but I still think it's a very beautiful and definitely worthwhile film to see. So that was my second movie that I saw. This is a really good month for animation for me. Zootopia, Boy and the Beast. Okay, and then the next movie that I saw was, I guess, the next new release that I saw, I think, was Batman v Superman. And this movie has been talked ad nauseum. I was kind of with it for the first maybe hour. I thought the bumping off of Man of Steel and kind of Bruce and Clark's responses, Superman and Batman's responses, were kind of good and sort of building up that tension. But then I felt like once it sort of got into Lex's plan of how he's going to manipulate Batman, and it started to get a little ridiculous to me. I didn't really like Lex Luthor in the film. The way that he is able to get the kryptonite, the way he's able to get access to Zod's ship, all of that stuff, and to Zod, and I just didn't really love it in that way, and I hated the ending. The ending really made me mad because I felt like they were trying to kind of trick us, that they were going to say they were going to do a certain thing that we know is not real, and even the ending, the last shot, of course, now we know. I didn't really absorb it at the time, but we know it's not real. But I just felt like, why bring us through all that mourning and grief and everything in order for a gotcha at the end, because we all know it's not real. And so it irritated me. I didn't like it, that part of it. But it's not like the worst movie I've ever seen or something. Some people are exaggerating. I just thought it was a disappointment. I gave it a C minus, and I think that's what it deserves. But I know a lot of people love it, so good job. Okay, so the next movie that I saw was only yesterday. This is the release of the 1991 film. I actually saw this before Batman v Superman. I'm getting all confused. But anyway, I saw only yesterday. This is by Isao Takahata. He actually made this film in 1991 for Studio Ghibli, but it wasn't released supposedly because Disney didn't like a section in there where the young Taiko, I think is how it's said, learns about getting a period. And there's a whole kind of segment about that. But that's sort of ridiculous. Like, what's wrong with that? I don't understand. Like, they have Princess Mononoke with like striking violence and things, but they can't handle. They can. It's just ridiculous. They can't handle a period, but whatever. So it's told from the perspective of Taeko when she's 27 years old, and she's going to work in this organic farm, and for just to get out of the city and get out of her life. And she ends up kind of being followed by her fifth grade. I forget how old that is, fifth grade. So like 11, something like, anyway, self from 1966. And so you kind of see her sort of thinking about herself, and she's telling these stories to this guy Toshio and to this other little girl. And then you see the parts of when she was a little girl. So the parts about her as a little girl were much better than the parts of, I thought, as an adult. She was super cute, and it's got that watercolor style that Takahata has, and it's very simple. Some people will think this movie's really boring because it's just the everyday life of a little girl. Like they try pineapple for the first time, and she learns about getting her period in school, and she faces a bully, and she finds out a boy has a crush on her. Just like basic stuff. But I thought it was really charming on that level. I like movies like that, that are sort of slice of life kind of movies. If you don't like those kind of movies, then you probably won't like it. Simple as that. And then where it kind of lost me a little bit is I didn't think that the adult Takao, however you say his name, that section was as compelling as the child sections. It could get a little preachy when they're talking about organic farming and everything and saving the planet and stuff, which is good, but it did feel a little sort of out of the 90s animation, with when you had like Once Upon a Forest and Ferngully and stuff like that, like very sort of environmentalist preachy a little bit. And also sort of this relationship between Toshio and Tako, it felt a little bit cold and distant, and I think that partly is just a different way of Japanese culture maybe towards these type of things, and I don't know, but I still really liked it. It's still really cute, and I enjoyed seeing it. I maybe was a teeny bit disappointing because I didn't love it, and I was hoping that I would love it, but I still liked it, and it's definitely worth seeing if you get a chance to see it. And so yeah, I wouldn't put it at the 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know, but it's hard because I would certainly I'd give it a good review. I think I gave it a B, so I'm fresh, so I guess it's okay. Anyway, I did like it, but I just didn't love it. So that's why I was a little disappointed. So then the next movie I saw was My Big Fat the next movie I saw was My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, and this was actually one I was really excited about. I was, in a way, kind of more excited about this than Batman v Superman because I don't really particularly like Batman that much. But I loved My Big Greek Wedding. It's just one of my favorite comedies. It just makes me laugh. I really like Tula as a character, and I just think it's so well structured, and the jokes really pay off, and they have this great chemistry. And so I was so disappointed when I went and saw My Big Greek Wedding 2 because I just felt like it, what the original did, where they had one story that you could get really invested in, and then sort of the family was kind of these. They were kind of peppered in to provide some humor and silliness and everything like that. It just became all about the family, and so you got tons of storylines, none of them fully developed, all felt very sitcom-y to me, and was just kind of frustrating in the end because I love these people, and yet I felt like they all just became sort of annoying cliches, and there was no like real, like you get, there's seriously probably 10 different storylines in the movie, and that was frustrating to me. I felt like they took a lot of the jokes that really worked in the original and then just tried to duplicate them, but then they would duplicate them multiple times. Like you get the father talking about words being in Greek. You get it so many times. You get the aunt with her strange body stories. You get that 3 times. You have sort of awkward sex talks at least 3 times. And it's just stuff that, like, in the original, it makes sense for there to be a lot of hubbub and stuff about a wedding. But some of the stuff that there was this huge family thing about didn't really make sense, and so it wasn't really funny. Because what's funny is when you have a heightened emotion of an everyday event, but it's not funny when it's just so over the top that it you can't relate to it anymore. It just becomes ridiculous. So, like, where it makes sense that a wedding is going to get a little crazy and they take it a little bit higher than that. There's a college fair where she's getting the girl is getting information about college, to have the entire family, cousins, everybody show up. That's just so ridiculous that it's not really funny to me. And I don't know, I was so let down by this movie. I really, 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 really didn't like it. So My Big Fat Greek Wedding was definitely the worst movie that I saw in March, for sure. And then the last new release that I saw in March was the Miracles from Heaven, and this was with Jennifer Garner, and she plays this mom of this little girl who gets sick, and nobody can figure out why she's sick, and there's sort of this miracle. And I thought that for a faith-based film that it did a lot of things well that the genre tends to not do all that well. I thought the way that they handled sort of the atheist characters was actually pretty subtle and like refreshing for this genre. And I thought that the fact that they were willing to show sort of Christian characters being kind of jerks was actually pretty bold for the genre. And I cried. I thought that it was moving, and I thought it was interesting the way that they showed sort of that they have this big miracle that happens, and there's the faith of the trial and the faith of the miracle, and then there's also all these like small miracles that add together. And I liked all of that. That I thought it was really good and really moving, made me cry. And so I think that it's one of the better faith-based films in a while. So there you go. And then I saw 3 movies in the theater that were previously released, which is so much fun. I love the fact that the Cinemark by my house, in my area, shows these kinds of films so that you can see something on the big screen, a classic on the big screen. I saw 10 Commandments, which was amazing on the big screen. It has such over the top moments. Got such great performances. Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner is so good in it. Um, you have Anne Baxter as Nefertiti, and she's just this classic, like, little minx kind of character. She's really great. I really like. I think it's funny, Edward G. Robinson. The fact that he's in this movie is bizarre, but it's just kind of fun, and it's way over the top, but it's really, really, really enjoyable. And then I saw To Kill a Mockingbird, which is, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. It's one of the best books ever written, and the fact they were able to adapt the movie so perfectly, I love the character of Atticus, and that he's willing to fight a battle that he knows that he will lose. It's just so moving. He's such an honorable man, and yet I feel like he's not too perfect. He's not a some kind of paragon of virtue. He is just a good man, a good brave person, and so many great moments in the film when I love probably most of all is when they say to Scout, stand up, your father's walking, like that. Oh, that scene is so moving. And you got not Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall in his debut performance as Boo Radley. That's really good. The kid actors are great. It's just has that sort of everyday feel to it, which makes it all the more like moving that these things happen. It doesn't have like these grandstanding, like, epic moments. It just feels like America when you watch it. I just love it. It's beautifully filmed, amazing soundtrack, amazing score by Elmer Bernstein. So it's definitely in my top 20 favorite movies of all time for sure. And then the last movie that I saw in the theater was there was a re-release. I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, and that was incredible experience. To see it, to really for the soundtrack was probably most influential of all. Getting to be in a theater and hear that music and the way it's perfectly timed for everything, and the stunts are so great when he goes underneath that car. Like, that is just probably the best stunt scene I've ever seen. It's so much fun, like him getting all the clues and sort of the weight of this situation with the Nazis and trying to get the Ark, and sort of the religious symbolism, and all of that just makes it work. And I think Harrison Ford is so charming in the role, and I just, it's probably the best blockbuster film ever made, I think. So yeah, it was just an amazing experience. And then I did see Hamlet. This was a live broadcast of the of England National Theatre, I think it is, their production of Hamlet that stars Benedict Cumberbatch. And this was awesome. This was 3 hours, and I was transfixed the whole time. I've never seen Hamlet on the stage. I've seen it on a couple of the movies, but this was the first time I've ever seen the play, and it was really moving. And I thought the way that they did things was really creative. They had like some different touches where they brought in sort of almost an apocalyptic kind of element to it, and I thought it really worked. I liked it. I thought all the performances were really good. Benedict is great as Hamlet. And it was really cool because, like, if I was just watching it as a play, like, you get the whole scope of the theater, and you get that here. But as somebody watching the recorded version of it, you could zoom in on a character just talking, so you really got their facial emotions and stuff that you don't get when you go to theater. And so I liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. So it made me want to go to more of these live broadcasts. I've been wanting to go to one of the opera broadcasts for a long time, but I just haven't made it out to one. But I'd like to. So that was really fun. So yeah, that was this month. In movies, I did see Zootopia 3 times, so that's it. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to April. Should be pretty fun. I'm going tomorrow to see Everybody Wants Some, the new Richard Linklater. So that should be good. I'm excited. And yeah, we will see what comes in the month of April. I'm really excited for Jungle Book. The buzz I'm hearing is all very, very positive. So that's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. As far as my best and worst, my worst of the month of March is definitely My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. And the best of the month for me, there's a lot of strong candidates. Zootopia would probably be my favorite new release. But To Kill a Mockingbird, I mean, it's tough because To Kill a Mockingbird, 10 Commandments, and Raiders of the Lost Ark are just great movies, and so it's tough. But To Kill a Mockingbird is just perfect. So, yeah, let me know what you think about all of these, and let me know if you like this. If you think this is fun, give me some feedback, and I maybe will do this again next month if it works. So, thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.